Welcome to this short joint webinar about the future of family law in an AI-driven world. I'm Gemma, Head of UK at Settify, which is, for those of you who don't know, a provider of legal technology for lawyers in the private individual space. The general theme of this talk today, we will be addressing the drivers of why change is being made in the family law space, particularly now in such an AI-driven, consumer-centric world. I'm joined by Paul Linsell, who is Head of Family at Boyes Turner, which is a tech-savvy practice and also one of Settify's partner firms. I'm a family lawyer, also by way of background, so have experienced firsthand the pain points that lawyers face and also the challenges that clients face too. According to the Law Society, managing the modern law firm today presents these top 10 challenges, which were pulled together by several legal tech experts, and the number one, which I'll be focusing on today, is meeting your clients' digital expectations. The way we interact with the world has made a revolutionary shift online during the last 10 to 20 years. People shop online, communicate via apps 24/7, and use those apps to run their lives. It's all about convenience for the customer and also cost saving for many. Hence why Uber dominates and has been classed as one of the top tech apps that we could not live without. There is HMRC's Making Tax Digital project. Law Commission just literally this last month on the 28th of September released their digital assets consultation paper in the wake of recent developments in the digital asset space. We no longer meet in person with bank managers to set up accounts, and the processes can now be completed via a couple of button clicks on your phone, together with a verification of your ID. For the legal profession, after the COVID-fueled culture shock that changed the way the profession works at an unprecedented speed, the acceleration of a consumer savviness to use tech, meetings over Zoom, the court having to offer online video conference hearings, and last year in September 21, the courts moved to a digital divorce application process, which was a huge shift to the decades of time where lawyers would have to lodge a divorce petition in paper format. A lot of people don't want to physically come into an office anymore after COVID, where lawyers were sat in meeting face to face. Clients start questioning, why am I being charged at an hourly rate to gather basic data? Tools that can increase efficiency, save costs for the client, and reduce error are no longer an added bonus, but are being expected from the consumer after seeing the tools that are offered in other sectors elsewhere. Not directly comparable as, say, ordering a food product, which clearly differs to the intricacies of legal advice, but where we're in a world where I can pick up my phone, go on, say, Amazon Fresh, press a couple of buttons and have groceries delivered to my flat on that same day, people have started looking at the services that professionals provide and say, well, why can't you do this? We need to come up with a better answer than, well, we've always done it this way. Let me send you that word precedent questionnaire I've had on my desktop and used for the last 10 to 20 years. It's all about what is right for the customer to make it convenient. Clients need access to lawyers, and they need it at a time and a way that suits them. We've seen a real drive from the consumer as the digital expectations have changed, and lawyers are having to adapt because we're moving to an era where everything is digital. Not only is the change towards use of tech by lawyers a customer-led incentive, but firms also face pressures from other forces such as geopolitical change, business model evolution, increasing department digitalisation, etc. Unfortunate for the last generation of lawyers, the way we practice hadn't changed in 200 years. However, the way we did things 200 years ago is not a great process, but it's a process that we'll be stuck with until the law firms make a change. Looking at other sectors, such as the medical practice, which was the furthest behind, now has apps to order prescriptions, book appointments right from your phone, and it's right for a revolution in terms of the way we do things in the legal sector too. Over the past 10 to 15 years, there's been a gradual change and more what the consumer expects in terms of dialogue and how to engage with professionals, which is a great time to introduce Paul Linsell, Head of Family at Boyes Turner, which is top ranked in most areas of work it practices. He will talk about his experience firsthand after practicing as a family lawyer in a number of different firms.
Thanks, Gemma, and hello everyone. So I'm Paul Linsell. I'm a partner mediator, and I also head up the family law team at Boyes Turner. For those of you that don't know Boyes Turner, I just want to spend a little bit of time introducing us before we talk about technology and family law. So Boyes Turner, we are one of the largest firms in the Thames Valley. We're a full service law firm, so we do pretty much everything you can do as a law firm. We offer a complete range of both commercial legal services and services for individuals. We're nationally recognised as well as being internationally recognised. We act for many household names in terms of businesses, as well as I say, acting for private individuals in whatever legal capacity is needed. We very much recognise that one size doesn't fit all, so we will always work with our clients to adopt the right approach for them and make sure that their needs are met. And part of doing that, which sort of feeds into the talk today, is that we very much embrace technology. We see ourselves as being an innovative firm and wanting to do things in sort of pioneering new ways to really help our clients and to make sure that they get what they need from the legal services and support that they're seeking. So that's a bit about us. In terms of the talk today, I wanted to really start by talking about my journey in family law, and perhaps a little bit about how technology has played a role in that. And the reality is that for much of it, technology has obviously been there in different ways, but it's been growing and growing at an accelerated rate. So I've been qualified for about 11, 12 years now, and just wanted to kind of go through my journey. So back in 2009, when I was really sort of starting out in my career, it's what I've referred to as the dark ages. So I've said here, using a pen more than using a keyboard. And that was very much the case. I mean, I still remember that we would do time recording, so to record chargeable time, and that was done on a piece of paper. Almost all attendance notes, so if you were meeting with a client, if you were going to be speaking with a client on the telephone or whatever it would be, pretty much invariably were handwritten. So again, using very limited technology. We obviously had computers, but the majority of stuff was paper-based, and you were using computers really to print documents and things like that. So very much a lot of handwriting going on. Lawyers, much like doctors, a lot of that was indecipherable, but very limited technology from that point when I was starting out my career. It did evolve, and I remember, I'm going to sort of put here, 2010 to 2015, there was more and more technology being used. But I remember, obviously, things like trial bundles. So if you're going to court for a court hearing, you'd spend days, often at a photocopier, getting all the pages in order. You'd be paginating by hand, so you'd be writing numbers on the bottom corners of documents. Clients would invariably bring in hard copy documents to you, and there was pretty limited technology. I mean, I remember the introduction of digital dictation. So when we were dictating letters, you could now do it through a microphone attached to a computer, whereas before, when I started out, it was you'd record it on a tape and you'd hand your tape to a secretary who would then type out the letters on that. So it was starting to evolve, but still very, very much tentative steps, I suppose, in terms of technology. I've then put 2016 to 2020. 2020 will be for obvious reasons, I'm sure, but that sort of period, I think I've called it kind of early adopters with technology. And I think that's really where people were starting to benefit more and more from technology in law, particularly in family law. Things were being used a lot more. And I think it's fair to say that tech was creeping into the legal arena, particularly in the latter half of the last decade. Emails were obviously completely the norm. The majority of communications were then by email rather than by letters, which again, in the early stages of my career, everything was done by letters. I think much more in terms of barristers being involved. They would be requesting things electronically. There was a lot of talk about the future digital age of family law at that stage. There were even some mythical law firms who were talking about going paperless. The reality, I think, for me and the firm where I was at that stage was everything was still paper-based. You'd still be dragging suitcase papers with you everywhere you went, even if that was in tandem with having electronic systems. So it was very much an early adopter phase, I think, at that point. There were those sort of new entrants coming in, such as Settify, really to try and push the services and processes further. I think we then came to 2020, and for obvious reasons with the pandemic, I think we entered into a warp speed in terms of technology being adopted in law, and particularly in family law. I still recall the first week, or the week before, in fact, of lockdown, sort of scrabbling around to get hold of a laptop to be able to work from home. My incredible secretary was actually scanning in lots of documents so that I would be able to work without paper files. All of that seems incredibly archaic now, just a couple of years on, because immediately we were kind of thrust into this world of video calls, screen sharing, online portals. All of that sort of really come through in the last few years. And I think for me now, the pace of change is continuing to accelerate. And I think sort of looking now at 2022 and beyond, I think really we need to keep up. I think it's not just now about the sort of back-end processes continuing to evolve and sort of driving efficiencies. I think the client-facing side of things now, there's a lot more where we're kind of catching up with the technology evolution curve. The majority of clients, certainly in family law, are preferring to have meetings via video call to fit in with their daily lives. I work as a mediator. Again, the majority of my mediation work is conducted remotely. And I think increasingly clients are demanding a service that's tech savvy so that it's efficient and cost effective in meeting their needs. So I think we are going to see more and more of that as we progress in the coming years. In terms of family law and what I do at Boys Turner, as I say, we very much embrace that. We are a new team, so we've only been doing family law at Boys Turner for just over a year. I joined in July 2021. Again, very much embracing that innovation approach. We are pioneering change. There's a lot of changes going on in family law generally. We were one of the first firms to adopt the sort of one couple, one lawyer approaches and joint legal services for separating couples. So we introduced that right at the start of this year. And we're going to see more adoption of new ways of doing things. I think family law is going to continue to evolve. And again, technology will play a role in that. Certainly in my team, we will seek to use technology wherever we can to assist our clients and assist us in assisting them. And certainly Settify for us is an important tool. We use Settify quite heavily. I've used it at previous firms and I introduced it as pretty much one of the first things that we wanted to do in terms of technology. It's really to ensure that we can give the clients the service that they need right at the outset, get all the information that we need from them and to progress and to get on with helping them and doing the job that they need done. So that's really how I see it. I think we will continue to see, as I say, technology really playing an important role. If you want to know any more from me, then please feel free to reach out and get in touch. I'll otherwise hand it back over to Gemma.
Thanks, Paul. Really insightful to hear how you're pioneering change in the family law space and also your experience of the change in the sector throughout the course of practicing firsthand. So now to briefly show you how Boys Turner have incorporated Settify into their practice. In a nutshell, our tool uses AI to interact with clients in their own time, outside of working hours, evenings, weekends, so essentially acts like an online paralegal. A prospective client goes to the website and finds the Start Today button. So they simply click on the button and they are then taken to Boys Turner's landing page for the Settify system. We've covered all areas of law, including divorce and finance, children, prenups, etc. The example I'm showing you today, though, is divorce and finance. This first section is designed to take around 60 seconds. The client is asked a series of 7 questions. Are you currently married? Do you have children? And as you can see, the system is essentially talking to the client as they select options, guiding them as they go, and responding to them in real time. It also gives them the options to add the children's name and date of birth. There is a question about jurisdiction and links with countries outside of England and Wales. And you'll see here there's also an amicability slider to assist the lawyer with where the relationship is at. There's then a couple of questions about the financial situation and what the position of the client's financial situation, financial needs, and then they can add their spouse's name if they would like. They can come in and out and save their progress, and also use this as a portal to provide their more detailed information. So this section is as the client's inputting their information, algorithms are collecting the client's responses and marrying them with bespoke guidance for the client about where they stand in light of their circumstances, what next steps might look like given the issues in their matter, and also how a lawyer at Boyes Turner will be able to help them. This can be accessed via the client's smartphone or tablet, and after a couple of button clicks, they will have immediate access to helpful information that will put them at ease. So, Settify is used by over 500 firms globally, 100 in the UK, which ranges from sole traders, boutique practices, up to large regional practices. The general feedback from clients is they find it useful to have access to immediate information online, particularly when they are often in a difficult place having to instruct a family lawyer, and that it's a user-friendly portal which is easy to use. To finish up, professionals are busy people and law tech can be a daunting place, but there's a really obvious need in the legal market to innovate. The right software partner can support every aspect of a firm, and law firms can greatly improve their business as a result, ensuring they remain competitive and maintain a firm position in the marketplace. If you're looking to improve your firm's client engagement function in particular, we have deliberately made Settify quick and easy to roll out. Feel free to get in touch if you'd like to find out more.